Hello there, Qckslvrslash here, and today I have a game in one of my perennial favorites, the Tier 9 American Destroyer, the Fletcher. And I've had some pretty amazing games in this ship, particularly of late, and I think it comes down to all that time I spent driving the Benson in Ranked. And in the past, I've shared games where I've done a lot of damage and had maybe more kills than the damage deserves. This game going to be a little different. I'm going to do probably the highest damage I've ever done in this ship, and I'm not going to get a single kill. But it doesn't matter, you can still carry your team without actually killing enemies, and I hope this shows you how I had that kind of impact. Right off the start, running off to sea on neighbors, favorite spot to go, especially in a DD because I love having that island. It allows me to defend myself from at minimum one direction, and that's how I play games, is I'm trying to always keep at least one entire flank to myself or of myself safe from enemy fire. When you start to get surrounded is when you get in trouble. So I go racing in. So far nobody has gotten there before me, which is always a good sign that you may not have company. You can see I start capping, and I'm going to be watching that cap thing from here until the moment I have it 100% capped. And what I'm looking for is if it stops, and those are things you have to notice right away because they tell you someone is rushing in on you. Particularly if it's a destroyer, because odds are friendlies will not detect them. I've got an enemy hipper driving straight at me, and you'll notice I overlapped those torpedo arcs a fair amount. And it's because I want that center of the arc to be so dense, he has no chance of driving through it without eating at least one torpedo. I pop my smoke and I start going to work. And you can see the hipper does what a lot of cruiser captains do. He starts to weave, but he still hasn't seen my torpedoes, which is just all the better for me. And you'll notice I'm still capturing, which means no one's joined me in this cap. Definitely good for me. I don't have to worry about a destroyer coming up behind me. And I managed to get 2 torpedoes into that hipper. Already off to a great start damage-wise. Nearly 40,000 damage in the first 3 minutes. And that's the kind of results you can get when you get a couple lucky torpedoes like that. Unfortunately, I don't finish them off. And that's just going to become the trend on this battle. I'll do a lot of damage, really work a ship down, and I don't get the last 100 or so hit points. So seeing this Qckslvrslash, I'm now preparing AP shells. If he comes racing around that corner, I'm just going to try to pump Citadel after Citadel into him from close range, and hope my team helps me out. But he has different ideas. He's going around the other side, so I start backing up, try to get into a position to assault him there, and not 100% sure, but pretty confident. We'll see if I can kind of edge around the corner here. Pretty confident he's doing what a lot of Kudus do, and that is pop smoke, sit in it. So with where he was last spotted, I really want to give my team the chance to spot him. So I drive as close to this rock as possible, jam my bow into it, and you can see I get inside that 2-kilometer hard spot range, and my team can open fire on him now. I call it out, I get a couple teammates saying, yep, we've got him. And it's not the most exciting thing to sit and not do damage, but he's trapped. He can't go anywhere. He's starting to get attacked from our Scharnhorst, and even though he's backing up into smoke, he's still spotted. He's taking fire from all my ships over there, and pretty confident to say he's going to be dead. So I start to back up and hope to go around the corner and maybe get a finishing shell into him. Get a kill making up for kind of that lost kill on the hipper. But not going to see that happen. A friendly Edinburgh, who you can't quite see yet, goes racing around the corner and finishes him off. And speaking of the Edinburgh, the British ships are here for anyone who doesn't know, and I've been having a blast. I'm up to the Tier 5 Emerald so far, and it's a little strange not to have HE, but you make up for it with so many consumables. The Emerald, for example, has Repair Party, Hydroacoustic Surge, Smoke, and Damage Control. And it allows you to do things you couldn't do in another Tier 5 cruiser like the Phoenix. So now I've decided to go off and try to contest B. I know some destroyers were over there, but none of their big ships are too close, and I've got to lead my team. I find a lot you can end up with teams that play a little passive if the DDs don't get out there and kind of push the pace. Not saying you have to do it every time, but when you've got a bunch of ships grouped up like that, I really do like to kind of lead the charge. Spot the new Soviet premium destroyer, the Leningrad. And I slow up basically because I was expecting him to ground himself against the rocks there, so I wanted to back up to be able to have shots. Not the case, he comes charging around the corner, and I know I can't get caught sitting here. He's almost definitely launched some torpedoes. You can see he's blown his smoke, so I turn hard, and I'm gonna get as close to this land as possible. You can see me turning. There's the torps. Oh, it's not looking good. Back to full engine. Rudder hard over, and I squeak my stern right past her. So now the plan, charge in on the Leningrad. He laid a smoke screen, so I know if I get him caught in that screen, I will win the gunfight. He's just fired his torpedoes, he's not going to have them, and the second I kill him, because most likely I'm going to hard detect him if I go racing into that screen, so 2 kilometers, erase him, and then I've got his screen in to hide for myself, and I can do damage to all the battleships that are spotted on the enemy team. But things don't always turn out as you plan, and they aren't for me either. I get spotted, see an enemy Fletcher, and I open fire. I go racing into this Leningrad screen, but you can see from how the puffs are in a straight line, he never slowed down. He was definitely moving the entire time that smoke was active. So it kind of tells me he's moved on, he's somewhere else. The Fletcher gets spotted by my Edinburgh, so I open fire and start wiping him off the map. I put a final volley in the air, don't manage to hit him unspotted, and you can see that smoke screen starts to disappear, so I activate mine. The Leningrad gets spotted, I get 1 volley in, and then the Edinburgh nukes it, and that's one of those things the British cruisers are great at, and you definitely have to watch out for when you're in a DD, is they just have this ability to make destroyers disappear. Between having their own smoke clouds, radar, hydroacoustic, they are built to rip apart hunters. They're built to hunt destroyers. Whew, long day. So initially I was firing at the one, having put torpedoes into the other. I realized Unfriendly Fire 28 has burnt his damage control. He's got to be my target. So I start working on him. I'm cautious in my smoke screen. I've actually just respec'd this captain to have vigilance. After talking to a number of players, I really feel it's the better skill to have, especially for team play, because your job as a destroyer is to spot torpedoes and ships for your team. So having that 25% bonus to torpedo detection range, very useful, and it's about to come in handy right here when some enemy torpedoes show up, quickly smash that speed boost, and get my ship out of the way. I am pretty confident if I had not had vigilance there, I would have eaten at least one of those. And you can say I wasn't very smart for sitting side on in a smoke screen, but it's kind of a game I play sometimes. I knew I had that cooldown available, and I knew I had vigilance now, so I was pretty confident I could get out of the way of the torps. And I back up there just knowing that more than likely enemy DD put the spread fore and aft to try to trap me. You know, the first one forces me forward, straight into the second one. So a little odd there, it shows me targeting the New Orleans. I definitely had that Iowa targeted with those torps, and I pull out, and looking at the friendlies I have around, I decide I'm going to open fire. I'm not particularly threatened by that Iowa in the current situation. His guns aren't at me, so there's no reason for me to try to open up, find cover. I feel I can safely engage him even from this close range. I will start opening him, but I don't feel the need to run away. And then unfriendly Fire 28 gets spotted. I left him on 3,400 health after those fires. So I put a couple volleys at him. I request my team to kill him because I just want him dead. And he manages to break spotting, so I go back to shooting Desipo. Get one torpedo in, almost get a second one there, but I got the flooding, which is the important part, because now he has to burn that cooldown. And you can see from the damage in the top corner, he hasn't managed to yet, which means there's definitely some fires burning on him earlier, and he'd already used up that cooldown. Our Frederick the Great ends up eating a slew of torpedoes, pretty much knocking him out of this game. He's not dead yet, but with the tier 9 battleship on either side of them, you'll see a lot of his health very rapidly disappears, as I do my best to burn this Iowa down before he can get to kind of that kill range. Unfortunately, someone else's fire is the one to get him, and that's just the type of game, but I'm up to almost 150,000 damage, and for me that's a great performance. I find in destroyers, often because I play that support role helping my team, I don't have these massive damage games, but I was more aggressive in this one. I had my team with me supporting, so I never became the focus of enemy fire like you so often do. The enemy may be down on ships, but they've got the caps, so I've got to get into B here, and the second I get into it, you'll notice I'm not capping. It's contested. So looking at my ring, I basically drive to the point where I know any enemy destroyer in this cap is going to be spotted because I've got as good a detection as they do. And that's when I find a Fletcher, low health, really close. I open fire, first shells land low, second hit, 1,000 damage, third volley misses, oh come on, get the... no kill. But I'm okay. I'm up to now even close to 150,000. I'm capping B. Things are going great for my team. Just having a great game. And you have these. And it's one of the reasons I hopped into the Fletcher. I was doing a bunch of grinding in the British ships, and despite having some really strong performances, I was on a streak of losses. So I got in something I knew I could go out, I'd have fun in, I'd be competitive no matter what. And to me that's often the higher tiers, because at worst I get some tier 9s. It's not like I'm in a tier 5 against 7s. The Bayern's going to be pretty much my final target for the remainder of this game, right out at the edge of my range because I don't have the gun upgrade yet on the Fletcher. And just look at the arc on those shells. I was definitely getting a workout here with my finger, just jamming that fire button, trying to get every volley off. Really, I should have just been holding it and letting them volley away. I get a couple fires early on, he burns his cooldown, and then, for whatever reason, my aim goes to shit, and I just can't hit him. And I think it's a bit of that really round hull. It's throwing me off. I wasn't aiming far enough to the right, and by the time I realize it, I've already gone through a dozen or so volleys. At this point though, the team definitely has it on lockdown, and I'm pretty much expecting that I've topped my team. Looking at the kind of kills, twice the damage I've done, I've gotten the caps, I did a bunch of spotting. This to me is like the top of destroyer play for me. At least my own abilities in destroyer. Get a lot of damage, really support the team, control a couple caps. If you do that every game in a destroyer, odds are you're going to be on the winning side of the battle more often than not, as I am right now. I do manage to corner the Bayern a little bit more, but I'm never going to kill her, and we don't really need to watch me rainbow shells in for another minute here. So let's jump to the post-battle. Well, I wasn't too sure I would get a video today. Got home a little late from ground school, and the British ships were out, so I really wanted to get my grind into them. I've made it up to the Emerald so far, but I did decide to get one game in my Fletcher since I'm trying to get to the gearing for team play. I joined OP Gaming, just have a group of regular people to play with and be competitive with. And you need tier 10s, and unfortunately the Montana, my only tier 10, is not very good, so I'm after the gearing. So I hopped in the Fletcher and I had, what a game. 498,000, 11,777 experience. Now that was with flags and stuff. Confederate and high caliber, 172,000 damage, no kills. I couldn't believe I hadn't gotten a kill and got that much damage. I wasn't even looking at the top corner because I just wasn't killing things, so I didn't think I was racking that much up. No surprise, top of team, 2,600 base experience. Definitely one of my better games. As for damage, you know what? When you look at it in here, you can see how it added up. 50,000 to Iowa, 41 to Hipper, another 30,000 to another Iowa, 20,000 to that Bayern. Got the DDs, and it just added up. What a game. 378,000 credits in the pocket, even after very expensive service, and 11,000. I wish this commander needed experience and I had been running that dragon flag, because that would have been amazing to get 300 times that on a commander that needed it. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Consider giving me a thumbs up or subscribing to the channel. If you are a subscriber, remember to go check out my giveaway video and comment in it, because I'm going to be doing a giveaway on Friday, 1,000 doubloons, 1 or 2 500 doubloon giveaways, just to thank you guys for the support you've given me so far. As always, I'm Qckslvrslash, and I'll have another one for you guys tomorrow.